Welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time it's going to be Star Trek, the deck building game, the original series version of it, which was the third one that came out. And I'm going to be doing a solitaire variant, which I've come up with myself to play the game. It is a competitive game generally for 2 to 4 players, and there is no co-op version in this one. There was in the other two, which featured Next Generation. So the solitaire version, I'll kind of explain a little bit about how that works, but I'll just very quickly gloss over some of the stuff here. Of course, we have our ensigns, lieutenants, and commanders, which you can buy. They're always available from the Starbase setup. This is basically your Starbase. You have your Starbase deck. There's 80 cards in here. There are characters, maneuvers, and setups, and they have different statistics and text on them. And I'm not going to go into the detail of the statistics and text right now. I will just say that there's a green number, which is speed, a red number, which is attack, a blue number, diplomacy, and a yellow number, which is shields. We start off with a starship, of course, because we're going to be exploring the galaxy. It has 8, I guess they call it shields. And if you ever go down to 0, your starship is disabled, and there's a penalty for that, which I will get into when and if that happens. So the gist of the game is a point scoring game, and we're going to be playing to 300 points, and I'm going to be doing solitaire, like I said, so I'm going to be playing against the game itself. So I have to alter the rules a little bit in order to do that. As with any deck builder, you start off with a starting hand, and a starting hand is 10 cards. And those 10 cards consist of 3 ensigns, 2 lieutenants, and 5 unique cards, which, again, I won't show you because once we start playing, you're obviously going to see them, and then we'll look at the detail of the card as it happens. Just suffice to say they are actually useful cards, which some deck builders, you just get kind of generic garbage cards at the beginning and have to blunder your way through, eventually buying better cards to have a hope of doing anything. All right, I'm just going to, I guess, mention a couple other things. So it's 2 to 4 players generally. There is another exploration deck. There's 2 of them in the game, and these are 25 cards. These are the infection missions and events, and we're not going to be playing with those. And of course, with the infection missions come infection cards, and these would go into your deck. They do bad things. The other thing that comes with the game are these draft cards. There are 15 normal missions in the game. They are always included in the game, and that's what these are. And what happens at the beginning of a regular game is players will get 3 of these. They get to keep 2 of them, and they can complete these missions if they want to. Of course, the deck here, which you can't see because it's off, this has the 15 standard missions and the 25, I guess, other mission/events for sort of the normal game. And there's some Starship Battles that happen in the game as well. I know I'm just sort of talking away here, not really explaining a whole lot, but you'll see how it works as we play. And so how do I play the solitaire game? Well, I play it, like I said, to 300 points. And so there are 40 missions/events in this deck. And so I'm just going to adjust the camera to a little bit of a different area, and I'll show you how I go about playing the game solitaire to 300 points. It's me versus the game. And we'll get into that detail, and then I think the next episode I'm just going to start going right into the game, and we'll see how it plays. Alright, so how I play solitaire is off to the side are the 40 missions, all shuffled so I don't know what's coming up. And in a round, you're going to deal yourself 5 of your 10 cards, and then you get to perform actions. So you can do them in any order. You can buy cards from Starbase if you want. You can play cards, it's called To Your Bridge. So you'll be playing cards, And I'll probably reshuffle these, so I'll show you. So we have some ensigns. They're worth XP. That's kind of the currency of the game. We're going to spend XP. In the top right corner of each card is a number. That's the number of experience it costs to buy the card. So in our starting cards, we have a tricorder, we have evasive maneuvers, we have a hand phaser, and we have memory alpha. In the hand phaser, you'll notice there's this little symbol here. It must be held by a character. So it's kind of some unique things in the game. So we will draw 5 cards and then we will take our turn. In my solitaire variant, at the very beginning, after we draw 5 cards, I'm going to flip over the top card of this deck. Normally in the 2 to 4 player game, that's an optional thing to do. You don't have to go exploring. In my solitaire version, you must go exploring. And you'll notice a little 8-sided die here, set at 3. In the deck, there are 5, I guess, simulated Starship battles, and they're all a little bit unique, and we'll get into that when it happens. And so what I do is, to start off in easy mode, which we're going to be playing, I put the die here at 3. So what I do is, if we have a Starship battle, I need to come up with, of course, attack and speed and such to do the battle. I draw 3 cards off the top of the space deck, which is, or off the top of the starbase deck, sorry, which is all of the characters' setups and maneuvers, and I add up all their statistics. And that's what I'm trying to beat. That's going to happen on the first time we have a battle. The second time we have a battle, we go to 4 cards, then 5 cards, and 6. And of course, it makes things more difficult. If you want to do a little bit tougher game, you can start with drawing 4 cards for your very first battle. And they are seeded and randomly shuffled into the 40 cards here. So you don't know when they're coming up. You might be prepared for a battle, you might not. And so these cards, I can show you the infection cards. On the bottom left corner, they have a number. So 50, 50, 25, whatever. What I do is every single turn after I draw cards, one is flipped. You can only ever have 2 missions in this location at one time. So if there's 2 missions here and I can't complete one, the next time a card flips, the mission that was not completed in the farthest right slot moves up here and scores points against me. So if I have missions that I can't complete up to, and events totaling 300 points, before I get 300 points by completing missions and events, I will lose the game. So the race here is for me to build a deck which will allow me to get 300 points before I cannot complete 300 points worth of missions. So it's sometimes it's easily done, sometimes it's difficult. Again, you can set the difficulty a little bit by upping the number of cards you draw from the Starbase deck for battles. And I'm not sure if there's too much else to go into. I'm not going to go into all the little text detail of the cards in Starbase right now, because as I buy the cards, I will be showing you the details of them and how they operate, and then they're going to go into my hand, and I'll be, of course, explaining the detail of how to play them once I deal myself a hand of 5 cards and get into a turn. So in a nutshell, we're going to be playing a 300-point game. I'm trying to get 300 points worth of missions, events, before the game denies me 300 points of missions and events. And the first one to do it, either the game's going to win or I will. And this is Star Trek, the deck building game put out by Bandai. I do believe it's still fairly widely available if you do want to pick up a copy. And I will, I suppose, try and explain some of the rules as I'm playing, as they differ between my solitaire version and if you were playing a 2-player game. Basically, the main difference in rules is text on the cards will say your opponent. Well, I don't have an opponent in solitaire. And when you get into the Starship battles, things are different than what I do because you're actually battling another player across the table, or another 2 or 3 players, depending on how many you're playing. All right, so without further ado, then next time I will get right into the first turns and show you how I play the solitaire deck builder from the original series. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Join me next time when I get into this Star Trek deck builder solitaire game, see if we can get 300 points before the game does. All right, thanks for watching. Join me next time.